weekend series?
We'll practice today at noon. Won't be very long, but enough to do the things that we need to do. And then we have an hour-and-a-half slot tomorrow at Vanderbilt, NC2A slot.
What do you see as the things you need to tighten up most going into this super regional?
Well, I think that the most important thing is that you have the right frame of mind always. I think that's the most important thing for us. We will. Our kids will do a great job. But we'll go out and we'll have 2 days of good practice. Our kids practice well. They practice hard. They just do a good job at practice. And the guys that need to get on the mound will throw a little bit. There won't be a lot of long throwing or in terms of duration or anything like that. But we'll get the guys up on the mound that need to do that, and then we'll get enough BP and enough defensive work that we'll be ready for Friday night.
Pitching plans for the regional?
I'll find out today. I want to talk to those guys first. But there won't be any surprises in terms of new guys or anything like that. We'll have our regular starters. But in terms of the rotation, I need to talk to Connor and Ethan first. We didn't practice yesterday. Yesterday's an off day.
What would be some factors that might change that?
Just how they feel. Yeah.
I know there's no way to predict it, but Dustin Skelton went off over the weekend. Was he having good BP, good practices? What did you see that coming?
Well, the things that I saw coming were noticeably improved batting practice over a long stretch of time. Not a 2 or 3 day deal, but consistently getting better and better, which we've got several guys doing. And I think the quality of his preparation, just in terms of the production and what he was doing in the cage, his BP is noticeably better over the last few weeks. I think, in terms of an all-tournament team type performance, I think it's hard to predict those things, but very, very pleased with what Dustin was able to do.
How different is your club since the last time you played Vanderbilt way back in March?
Well, I guess you're looking at, you guys can help me with the math, but I think we're looking at 13 weeks. So 3 months difference, and there's Vanderbilt's better than they were 13 weeks ago. We clearly are, and so I don't know, we're quite a bit different.
Hey Gary, there were some guys the other night that were getting selected in the MLB draft in the middle of their games. Just what's your thoughts on the current landscape?
My thoughts on the current landscape is it would be really good if we could get the NC2A, the Players Union, and MLB together and somehow move that to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's not a new topic. It's or a new issue, and so it would be really nice. You feel for those kids. That's a big moment. And at no fault of their own, they're Ryan at Ole Miss is in the dugout during the, whatever it was, 6th or 7th inning, or the team's trying to find a way to get to a super regional, and that becomes a topic of conversation for them, which is certainly not ideal and certainly not his fault. But it would be nice if we could get the people in charge of those organizations to somehow move it a day or whatever it is, and I'm sure there's extenuating factors that I don't know anything about. I think the first time everybody got together, I was a part of that in Las Vegas, and MLB and NC2A head coaches and the staff from Indianapolis was there, and we kicked around a lot of different ideas and thoughts, and for whatever reason it hasn't changed.
Coach, ESPN ran a stat that you have a 7% chance to win a regional after going 0-1. Your team's defied the odds 2 years in a row. What is it about this club that plays their best with the backs to the wall?
Well, I think that anytime you're looking at statistics like that, and that you overcome, you're talking about the character of your kids, and obviously you got to have talented people to do that. But I think there's a belief issue. Trust within the group is huge. Your belief in yourself and your teammates. And there's a lot of pride in the program, and good players, good coaches. Those things.
When you say feel about the two pitchers you're talking about, is that entirely physically, or could there be mental factors, or just how the guys?
Oh, I'm just going to talk to them. Just tell them. It's a short day rest. It's just one day, and just talk to them. And I mean, nothing more.
And you think either one would be entirely comfortable going out there on Friday night?
Sure. Whatever we decide to do, they're both going to pitch.
Will the matchups that Vanderbilt's throwing have anything to do with it, or just you go
Zero.
with the guys? Zero.
Yeah.
Prior to the Jackson State game, if one of us geniuses had predicted you'd be 2 wins away from Omaha, you would have said?
I would have questioned your ability to call yourself a genius. I don't know. You know, I think at that point in time, you know, yeah, I think you're always going to show confidence in your kids and the program. I understand your question, and I guess you're asking anybody after going 0-3 if they're thinking about being 2 games away from Omaha. I think at that point in time in February, I probably said, you know, we're going to try and take care of Wednesday night in Jackson. You know, I think that's probably where I would have gone with that. But your point's well taken. We've come a long ways. We made tremendous improvements, and I'm really proud of our kids.
We've got a few days maybe to reflect on it, or maybe you hadn't too much yet with the season still going, but that Elijah walk-off homer on Saturday, where does that rank in your long baseball career of things you've seen, clutch moments kind of deal?
Well, somewhere at the top. You know, I mean, walk-off wins against good people, especially when, you know, you're not at home, or those are hard to get. You know, not that they're easy at home, but somehow there's a little bit more electricity or adrenaline sometimes, or ease at just playing in front of your home, you know, your home fans. But to do things like that on the road and to be 1 strike away from the season over and to get it extended like that, that's a memory that our team, not just Elijah, but our team gets to take with that, you know, to their grave. You know, you're going to remember that forever. You know, that's a special moment, and athletics is a place where you get those. You don't get those types of experiences very often outside of athletics, you know, at least in my world. You know, but that was a special moment, no question.
I think about midway through the season, Rowdy had the worst batting average on the team. It was about 191 or something. I'm sure part of that is, you know, his improvement is just getting a little bit over that freshman wall. But anything specific you've seen from him that's allowed him to get in that 2-hole and be so successful?
Well, I think that what you're looking at is any time that you have guys that are new to our league, there's going to be a period of acclimation or adjustment. You know, especially when you're talking about hitters versus older pitching. You know, it's hard. You know, it's a completely different level of skill and fastball and movement and command that you're seeing here that he saw in high school baseball. And so there's a period of time where you've just got to get acclimated and get adjusted. During that period, there's a lot of things that happen between the hitter or with a hitter and a coach. So those things are going on a daily basis, no question about that. And then it's really, really important that you stay as positive as you can, because there's enough failure in this game that you can go sideways if you don't. And so I think you got a really good athlete. I think you got a really good hitting coach. I think you got a positive environment where, even though he was struggling a little bit, and he wasn't the only one, that you stay positive and you wait until the game slows down a little bit and you start to make a little bit more solid contact, and then you get some big hits, which he did, and then all of a sudden here comes some confidence. And there's the growth that you're looking for.
You mentioned again the character of the team. Was that really on display by your relief staff after the first day? Some guys just shook it off and with their backs to the wall threw some of their best games of the season.
Well, I think you'd have to agree with that. You know, for those of you that were there or watched on TV, you know, to go through the disappointment of Friday night and then to be able to get back and perform well, you know, whether you're talking about JP or Cole or Riley or, you know, any of those kids that or just to be a member of that staff that had that type of a disappointing performance, to be able to come back and perform like we did. And you know, I mentioned after the game on Monday, I don't want to necessarily, you know, single out the names. It seems like you forget names, but Cole Gordon and Billingsley and JP France and Denver and Riley, you know, those kids performed extremely well. And for whoever I forgot, forgive me, but those kids performed extremely well after a disappointing day, and I think that's a credit to the program. I think that's a credit to the coaching staff. I think that's a credit to the kids, you know, and the type of teammates that they are. That, you know, you shrug it off and you get into the next one, because that's what you do and that's what our game is.
Even though it is a best-of-3 series and y'all play a lot of series in the season, it could end in 2 games. Does that put any kind of differences in how you approach the relief pitching or even your starting lineups?
Well, not the starting lineups. I guess the answer would be yeah, because you're looking at it could only be 2. I don't know what specifically what that would be, but you know, on the weekend you're guaranteed 3, and sometimes you got to save some stuff, you know, on a Saturday so that you're ready to go from a pin standpoint on a Sunday. And here, if you know, if you're down 0-1, then there's no saving for Sunday.
Is Denver's hip as good as it can be? I guess.
I haven't talked to him since he threw, so I don't know. I think that I probably would have heard something yesterday, but I haven't heard anything. But I'll find that out today.
Did you get a scare in that game when he tried to barehand that shot and then he was still able to come back and pitch fairly effectively?
Well, I think I was more shocked and surprised, you know, and let him know that's best, you know, with the other hand with the glove on it. But, you know, those things happen. You know, the thing that most young kids don't understand is they can hit it back faster than you can move. And I'm a testament to that. And I pitched in college, and sometimes you wear it off the body and you just don't get to it. And so for him to stick his hand up there, that's just a reaction that you have. But we'd certainly like him to use the left hand.
Asked about Rowdy. It seems like Tanner's probably been the most consistent of the freshmen. So I think he started every ball game. All the freshman All-American, All-SEC or whatever. How do you think he's adjusted to college and the SEC?
Tanner Allen?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think he's adjusted really well, you know, and I think perhaps the most impressive thing that I've seen is the work that he's been able to do at first base. And he's done a great job in the box. He has a mature presence, you know, clearly for a freshman, a very mature presence in the box, and he's done a really good job for us. But the defensive work at first base has been really impressive as well.
Dustin Skelton's still a relatively young catcher, but the job he did this past weekend, hot conditions, going every day, multiple times there, and just handling that staff. I mean, was that impressive for a kid like that?
Yeah, it was really impressive. I was really proud of him. And it was warm, and he just did a great job. Offensively, he did a great job behind the plate. It was a really good weekend for Dustin Skelton in his career.